G'day listeners, welcome to Idiosyncrasies, the sailing podcast. My name's Jordan Spencer and it's that time of the week where we get to hang out with some really cool sailors. But of course I have to share the mic with my idiot mates. This week it's one. Let's welcome to the microphone.
He had a voice that could make a wolverine purr.
It's Nick Bice.
Where's the other one gone?
I think he's
missing.
He's missing.
Missing in action.
It's pitch black where he is. He's sound asleep, I think, is where it is the story.
Yeah, in the UK. How's your week been, Jordan? You reached some milestone this week?
No milestones, mate. No, it's just another year older, that's all.
Another year older, or what do they say? Another lap around the sun. You've done a few, mate. I've got to say. You've done plenty.
The evidence is stacking up on that too, yes.
Yeah. Opening day season's kicked off in Adelaide.
Yep.
There's a bunch of opening days yesterday.
Yep.
I went to a few of the clubs and they've all listened to me and taken your photos down, mate. Brighton, Adelaide, no such thing as Jordan Spencer. You've just gone and forgotten these days.
Well, there'll be a surprise later on in this discussion for you, mate, about all that stuff. So wait
cool.
and see. Yeah.
All right, standing by. Yeah.
Cool. Well, congratulations on being the Commodore now. We dropped the Bice from the name, so you're no longer the shit Commodore in Sweden. You are just the Commodore, so that's good.
Yep.
Shall we roll into this one?
We shall. But before we start, though, I'm running a bit of a book. I've told a few guys who's on this show, and they seem to think you might mention the worm catwhacker several times.
Well, one of the letters we've got in this week, he's signed off as a catwhacker, so I'll be interested with our guests today if they do have terminology for monohull sailors. I'm quite interested to see what that is. But our guest today, a pair of people that I've been really happy and have been very excited for over the last 2 weeks because they've just won the world champs in the Masters at the Hobie 16 Worlds, and then they won the Open World Champs following straight on up. So I think the Hobies do it slightly different, where you just don't compile all the results. They have separate regattas. So it's been a great few weeks for this pairing. Known them for quite a while, so let's welcome to the show and can see what they can tell us about the joys that is Hobie 16 sailing. So can I welcome Cam Owen and Susie Ghent. How are you, team?
Yeah, good, great, guys.
Yeah, very well, thanks, Jordan. Bicey, very happy.
Very happy. Congratulations, you two.
Yeah, thank you. We had a good regatta, a couple of good regattas.
We did.
Did you launch into like a mad Monday? It's the end of footy season, and
it has that feel at the moment, doesn't it?
So, yeah, how'd the celebrations go?
Oh, look, we're probably a bit slow on the day after the regatta. The presentation night ended up quite a late night on the beach in Spain there at Allegra at the caravan park. That was good. Yeah, bit slow the next day, I've got to say.
The word has got back, is all I'll say, that you guys did manage to achieve quite a good outcome on the celebrations as well as winning the world. So, word has got back. So congratulations on that.
There is a bit of video footage around.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be a Hobie regatta without that.
Yeah. No, the community's a bit of fun, so everyone gathered together, tried in a bungalow after the presentation, but the security quickly shut that down, and the party ended up on the beach where it all began, so it was a bit of fun.
It's nice. So you guys have been pairing for quite a while now in the Hobie, and you've been there or thereabouts. At World Championship level, I think you've had a second before, but you've been right there threatening for a long, long time. And this time was the breakthrough. Do you feel like relief or do you feel ecstatic? What's the thought process at the moment?
Look, for me, it's relief. It's really good to have done it because, as you say, we've got a second, we've got a third, we've got a fourth. We've been knocking on the door, and we put a lot of work into it to try and get to the win, and it's quite stressful getting there. And in the regatta, scenario. But yeah, we're pretty relieved and pretty ecstatic too. It's good to tick the box. At my age, I thought it might have been past us, but no, we're really, really glad to get there.
Yeah.
What did you change this time up, Cam or Susie? Anything or just persistent?
Look, I think we probably were as well prepared as we've ever been before. The weather and a few things went our way. You don't win a world championship unless a few things go your way. The way they do the draw and they set up the fleets because you're sailing off in round robin type thing. We got a good run of most of that sort of stuff, and we learned some lessons about consistency more so than anything else. And previously we've had some high numbers that have really hurt us, so we really focused on just keeping low numbers. We only won one heat. We were just always there, but our worst was an eighth, I think. So it was just a matter of just being there all the time and waiting for everyone else to make mistakes. I think that's what we really tried to do, because previously we're the ones that have made those big mistakes.
Yeah, there's a few times where we just sort of managed our risk and we didn't go for the win. We just happy to take the 2 or the 3 and keep some good numbers on the board.
So you're talking from my coaching book, but I suspect you may have put that into my coaching book. We've known each other a long time, and that's some wise discussions right there. So well done. I love it. I love that sort of discussion.
Yeah, I'm lucky to have a coach on board, Jordan. I don't get away with much.
Hey, we have to talk about one aspect though. It wasn't just you guys first. I'm pretty certain 3rd and 5th were all from the same yacht club, Nedlands Yacht Club.
Yeah. So Darren and Claire were in 3rd from Nedlands Yacht Club as well in Perth. We're also from Neddies and Royal Freshwater Bay.
Yep.
Them were plugged too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Darren and Claire, they're always there with us in club racing every week. And I guess you'd say we're training partners. We sort of hook up together when we're going to a major competition and sail together when we can and do as much racing together as we can too. So
and Gavin Jost in 5th. They, Gavin's probably the fastest Hobie sailor you'll ever see. He's
really?
Always there, 2-time world champion. And he's sort of... hasn't been too heavily involved in the Hobie scene over the last few years, but certainly when I first moved over to Perth, early 2000s, he was heavily involved and leading the fleet around the marks, and he's still doing that whenever he jumps on board. So we're really lucky to have a solid foundation, and it's probably supported by 20 odd boats on a weekly basis out of Netherlands. So there's always pressure on you. Never an easy race, and that shows in the results.
It's now, so no disrespect to Royal Freshwater Bay Yacht Club, but I'm setting something up here, so just keep going. Some real talent has come out of Nedlands Yacht Club over many, many years, particularly in the cats, but in all forms there. It's a great little club, that one.
Yeah, look, it has, and we've got a couple of teams about to sail in the F18 Worlds over in Clearwater, Florida. So between 16s and F18s, we're up the front end of most fleets, most regattas. So it's a primarily, I mean, there's a cruiser fleet, but primarily at the moment it's a cat fleet. And I grew up in Melbourne, and coming from there to Netherlands, it took me a while to get my head around how they race. It's pretty old school. They go these massive long races around fixed marks on the river every Sunday, and rather than the old short course stuff, and they all rock up in their navy uniforms, and it's very formal, but it's a nice place. There's grass down to the river, and the sailing's really good.
My first race, my first yacht club, Netherlands Yacht Club. So first race I steered a boat, won, and at Netherlands, and foundation of my love for the sport. So.
And you're never looking back, are you, Jordan?
Still got my photo over the bar there.
Is there a photo at Netherlands of you, Jordan?
We'll go and check that out and make sure.
Just put one up for this week, can you, Suze?
Yeah, we'll do.
Hey, you referred to the format of the Worlds, like the round robin. How does that all work?
Oh, it's unique, I've got to say. You turn up to a Hobie Worlds and there's 50 brand new boats on the beach. So the Worlds is a little bit different from the Masters. The Masters every year you just race a race, come in, change boats, race another race, come in, change boats. Ideally, sometimes the weather is a bit tough, so we'll do back-to-back races on the one boat. But when you get into the opens, there's a qualifying series for those who haven't pre-qualified. So we've pre-qualified through our results in Australia, so we got into the top 96. But if you're outside of that, there's a pre-qualifying series, so you can get in there and qualify. So once they get the cut for the semis, you get into the semi-finals, and that's 48 boat fleets. You rotate, they divide you up into groups and rotate you through those 48 boats, so everyone sails against each other at least an equal amount. So this time I think we got 4 races in, so we sailed against each other, at once minimum, maybe twice. And the idea is you do one race, you come in, swap boats if you're up, or you might be sitting that one out. So every race you get a different boat, so you got to come in and you might have 10, 15 minutes to set your boat up and go back out. So it's pretty brutal, and you've got to be pretty efficient and know what you're doing. And then from that 96 boats, they'll cut the top 48, and the scores you have in the semis carry over to the finals, and you've got 2 days of racing against the top 48.
And always swapping boats.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Weather permitting, we did a lot of back-to-back this time. Like, we didn't do, in the last Worlds, we had to do a whole lot of really quick boat changeovers, and it's tough. It's really difficult to get it done in the time that you have. But this time, because the weather was a bit tricky, we did more back-to-back stuff.
Jeez, that's incredible, because they are a one-design boat, but there's a little bit in setting them up. I'm not an expert in any way, but you do have to do a few little adjustments, make sure it's perfect. And given Cam, you're the social butterfly off chatting, and Susie's really technical, and she's probably doing all the work.
I'm a bit of a nerd, yeah. But
she's cracking the whip. Yeah, there you go. Have you done that? Oh, oops.
No, we've got a routine, Jordan. I'm sure you can understand, a bit of checklist. And, everything's all nicely planned out.
And a priority list. We know what we have to do, because if you can't, sometimes you just cannot get everything done, and you've got to resolve it on the way out to the start. Yeah. But there's stuff you just got to do on the beach, and there's fundamental settings that you got to get right before you leave the beach, and you focus on that.
So you can adjust the rudders, and where you put your jib tack and your side stay adjustments, and those are sort of the key things you need to do on the beach, particularly the rudders. You don't want your skipper whinging that his arms being ripped off all around the course.
Yeah. Some people do some funky things with the rudders. We've had them raking them back, and we've had main sheets untwisted, and not so much this time, but previously there've been some crazy boat setups that you had to deal with.
So you have a boat briefing before each series, and the beach team, basically they give you the rules, they tell you what you can and can't do with the boats, but it's all pretty standard year to year, so we've got a bit of a routine happening by now, which has been good.
I'm intrigued, Boss. You're probably the same, like that. To get to the top of the world, right, you'd think that everyone would be, things would get close to one corner of the envelope. This is where we know things are fast. And then you're saying that you could get completely different setups out there.
Oh, we had someone, I think it might have been Rod Waterhouse, came up to us at the Worlds and said, I've been sailing these boats since 1976 or 72. And I've never seen anyone set it up the way you guys do. And it's like, they're the same. I'm not too sure how we can be that different to what you've always seen before.
Yeah.
But the differences are subtle. They're subtle, and there's not too many controls to play with. Once you're actually sailing, you can't adjust the downhaul. You can't adjust anything apart from traveller, main sheet, jib traveller, and jib sheet. So it's just a whole lot of subtleties.
I thought it was.
Are there any nations or any time you jump on a boat and a particular nation's been sailing it, and you're like, whoa, this is dodge?
We sort of just expect that from anyone, just in case, and we check everything. But
they probably say it about Australia. They probably say it about us.
Bloody Aussies.
Well, often we get off, and we've done really well in the race, and we come in and give the boat to someone else, and they sort of look at us funny and go, you done anything
Or-
to this, or
Had the Austrians take one of our boats after one of the races, and they said, how'd it go? I said, yeah, it's all right. We liked it. We got a couple of seconds or something.
take it exactly as we
Take it or
wanted?
leave it. And they said, I reckon we'll have a go at it. So they took it out. They came back and said, I'm never using that setup again. That was shocking.
Oh, wow. Wow.
We told you.
Everyone sails the boat a bit differently, and we're probably a bit unique the way we set ours up.
Hey, I've got an idea for you guys, right? I'm not going to try and tell you to reset your boat, but I've got an idea for the psychological warfare that is winning world championships. What you need to do is, once the racing's over and you're sailing back into shore, have a whole bunch of empty beer cans that somebody just hands over to, and then stash them all around the boat, and they'll just go.
Yep.
Well, that's what we do, Jordan. I don't know what you're talking about.
I love it.
No, we had quite a big Australian contingent at the Worlds, and there was always someone allocated to bring beers around when we hit the beach. So there was no shortage of beers.
Nice.
Well, we needed them.
How's the Spanish?
We didn't actually-
Cerveza.
Cerveza, yeah. Sangria, cerveza, and paella.
Although I don't think I can pronounce it properly,
No.
but yeah.
So how this partnership kick off, Cam and Sos?
Oh,
It was actually Darren's fault.
Yeah.
So I was sailing in the Hobie Worlds in South Africa in, what year was that, 2005, Port Elizabeth. And, came in after the regatta, caught up with Darren on the beach, and he said, the Nationals are in Perth. I was living in Sydney at the time. He said, the Nationals are in Perth, you should come home and do the Nationals. Remember that guy, Cam Owen, that used to sail around on an ACAT? He's eventually seen the light and bought a 16 and he needs a crew. Off we went and did our first Nationals together in Perth. And, our scorecard's pretty hilarious. I think we started off with 17s and not so great scores. And in the end, we were coming out with wins. And we went, right, now you finally learned how to sail a Hobie 16. They're a bit of a unique boat. And then we just sort of went from there and, decided to keep going at it, keep trying. We did a bit of training, got some good scores, and kept
having
going.
a crack. Yeah, look, when I was, I'd actually take, as Sue says, I was sailing A classes and stuff like that, and I got a bit over it because I was originally from Melbourne, and then when I moved over here, I could not stay on the pace. It was difficult because there was no competition. I'd come from a really deep base in Melbourne, and then got a bit sick, got a bit sick of it, moved down south and was windsurfing quite a bit, and then the old bug got back to me, so I bought this Hobie cat and started sailing with Suze, and the transition was tough because it was just they're just not a normal boat. And I ended up coming to the conclusion that if it feels really slow and rubbish, you're going quick.
Really?
It was, from the A class, you'd be trying to get speed and lift off the foils. These things, you just. But we finally got my head around it and love it now.
Wow. So was that frustrating at the start, or it was just you could tell that things were going to be good?
No, it's actually interesting, and I could tell that Cam was a pretty good helm, and I know that because being a helm myself in other types of boats with only one hull, I knew that the Hobie 16 felt weird. And if you put me on the helm, I sort of go, yeah, I get it. I get what you're talking about. It doesn't have a feel that you're used to from other boats. It's quite different. So I understood where he's coming from. So I guess for me it was more interesting because sitting on the front of a Hobie 16 in the crew role, I could feel when the boat was fast and slow.
Yep.
But if you gave me the helm, I went, no, I can't feel it anymore either. So I guess it was something we worked together on where I could sort of go, no, that's not good. That's not good. What are you doing? Try something different.
And we're still going through that process. I've got to say,
We're
we're
still
still going
learning.
through that
Yeah, we're
process
still
because
learning,
we get it
sure.
wrong. And the lead up to this World was probably a classic example of it. We'd been stuck in WA, COVID. We weren't allowed to leave the state for a long time, and we'd been bashing around in 25 knots for a lot of that against Darren and Claire, and geez, we were quick in 25 knots. And then we thought, well, the Worlds are coming up and we're allowed out of the state. We went to Melbourne and visited my parents and back to where I came from.
And that's March this year.
That was March this year, and there was a Victorian state title. So we were fortunate enough to get a boat for the Victorian states, and we got spanked. We were just hopeless. We were just like, well, we got fourth or something like that, which was pretty disappointing. But we just had forgotten. We just weren't set up right. We just drifted away from where we should have been by not competing. So then we did a similar thing. We went to Queensland where we bumped into you at RQ for the Queensland states and struggled a little bit again with the transition to some lighter conditions. We're okay on the windy second day, but we were just struggling to get that transition back to the speed we needed when it was lighter.
We missed a ley line, and then we realised that was really good for us. We sort of missed a ley line and put us back into second place, I guess, with those points, and sort of thought, that ley line got us for the regatta overall, and we realised that sailing around at home, around our fixed markers on the river at Nedlands, we're not looking at the ley lines anymore. We know which tower to tack on, or we hit a point, we hit a corner, and we got to tack out, and we started sailing the same course all the time, the same track, and you don't look at it properly anymore. Yeah.
So we were really fortunate that we could do 2 or 3 of those regattas, and the other beauty of that was it gave us a chance to set up 3 or 4 different boats, which is what we were just talking about. How when you get to the Worlds, you got to set up a boat, and that's half the challenge, being able to set it up quickly and efficiently and have it sail properly. And when you're sailing your own boat all the time, you just pull it onto the marks and tick it off and sail. So, yeah, we're always learning.
It's interesting.
And you reckon that given that you are on the river and it is 25 knots every day, did you take that into your strategy going into the Worlds as well, in the sense of trying to sail in some lighter conditions?
Yes, whenever we could. And we were really lucky. That's a good point, Pricey. We were really lucky that the Worlds was after our winter, because 25 knots is a summer breeze, but over winter it becomes quite light, quite variable. It's either a lot of all or nothing, and we get the opportunity to do winter series at various clubs. So we're really lucky in Perth because there's the Fremantle will run a winter series. It's really well raced and well run, and it's out in the ocean in exactly the conditions we were trying to train in. Jervis Bay down the road also did a winter series, and we were able to get to that. Nedlands did a winter series. We had racing up at Geraldton, plus a couple of trips over east. So we really were fortunate that they ran it at the end of our winter rather than the end of our summer, and we got that variety of conditions. Originally it was going to be in May, and if it had been in May, I think we would have been in trouble.
And we wouldn't have been as well prepared. I think it would have taken us a bit of time to get into it properly.
You guys, given that little build-up, there's a lot of sailing, but you've always done a lot of sailing as a pair, you two. Like when I always see your results and always looking. So, you're doing Euros, doing the Worlds. You did that there's a pro sail event or something. I remember you doing something like that, you guys.
That's fun, yeah.
How do you work?
Don't talk to me about work. This week's been horrible. But, I don't know. We just, we enjoy the sailing, and we take the opportunities when we can, but a lot of them are just we're in and out. We go and do the regatta and we come home, so it doesn't give us too much time for holidays and stuff like that. So that's our time off, really. Just regattas, And
I work in the sport, so luckily, I guess there's an understanding that that's a good thing to do, is to sail.
One of the
we work really hard though in between. So
of course. With you, Suze, with your work, obviously, you're the offshore admin at Royal Freshwater Bay, so it's quite clever of them to get an inshore sailor to do the offshore admin, so you're always available.
Yep. No, I quite enjoy the looking after the offshore racing. That's just a small part of the what we do at Royal Freshwater Bay, being a river club.
Yeah.
And look after membership as well. So we've got a pretty big membership. It's a pretty big club. So that's a really exciting role that I get to do now.
Well, we get a lot of feedback from some of your members. There's a few of them send us videos and all sorts of stuff. So we got a lot of yeah.
But it's quite strange the times that they roll in though. When you look at when that email was received, oh yeah, there's obviously something on at the club tonight.
That's good. So why do you think you've had the success? What do you think it was that that got you there? Like you said, a few things fall your way and time on the water. Do you think that little group at Nedlands has been a real contributor, or you just guys are naturally brilliant?
I think we're naturally brilliant,
Yeah,
to be honest.
I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure.
that was a silly question, John. No, honestly, yeah, primarily Darren and Claire, they're relentless, I've got to say. There's never an easy race with those guys, and they are always keen to go sailing and training with us, especially leading up to a Worlds or a Euros or a winter program. So, look, we're very fortunate to have them, and I'd say without that boat on boat, you know, the catapulting type process you get when you've got a good training partner, there's no way we could have been there.
And there's heaps of depth in our fleet though, so you know, if you make a mistake, then there's always someone there ready to jump onto that place and grab it. We have quite a big fleet at Nedlands Yacht Club, and we have an A fleet and a B fleet. So the B fleet boats actually start first, 5 minutes ahead, and then the A fleet boats start behind. And the idea there is that the B fleet get to see the A fleet sailing through the fleet, and they get to learn and sort of watch what we do, which is a great way to have it. But it also gives us some boats to chase, and some traffic around marks and people to hunt down. And when you get towards the end of the season, and they're getting faster and faster and harder to catch. So I think that's a great sort of setup that we have here in Perth.
But look, we've been doing Hobie World since 2007. I think it was the first one we did. And every one you pick up a little bit more, you learn to do it a little bit better, and you learn from the mistakes of the previous ones. So from our last ones in Florida, I'm not too sure if you remember this, but I actually smashed Suze's hand in the.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
We were leading the Masters series, and we had an incident, and I crushed her hand and crushed 2 joints and broke a couple of bones, and ended up in hospital and having to forfeit the Masters series, and then we sailed the Open with one hand, and those sort of stupid things can really cost you, and it really cost a year of rehab and all that sort of stuff. So we were pretty keen to get over that and sail properly this time and not do anything silly. So it's not so much that, but every World you pick up other lessons and how to control your scores and how to control the fleet and where to sail and what scenarios, how you have to deal with certain things that come up in races, and we put a lot of that together this time. So it's experience as much as planning and preparation.
Yeah, we sort of trained for a lot of different things as well. So when we were sailing by ourselves, we would sort of make up a bit of a scenario in our heads and practice for it. And I think that really helped us in the Worlds too. Just having, for example, at a gate mark, we trained for Cam to just go anyway and not tell me where he was going. So we could deal with a last-minute change because of traffic, and we certainly made some gains through being able to do that at the Worlds too. Just we've got the option to go the other way if we need to, if this turns pear-shaped, and then Cam doesn't have to talk to me. We can just do it, just make the call. So I think we've got a pretty good routine too. We like to be prepared, and we write everything. Do I do that bit? I'm the nerd.
Sue's very prepared.
Write everything down, old school, like you learn when you're a junior sailor. Write it all down, have a little training log, and it's funny actually to go back and read your training log from a few years before and go, shit, we already learned that a few years ago.
Still making that mistake. Far out.
Let's read that again.
2 responses to that is obviously one. Making mistakes in Florida is pretty much tradition. you know, Florida man, everything bad happens in Florida. Yeah. And then I've forgotten the second response.
So talk to me about the equipment. Has that evolved in the 16s, or you're pretty much sailing the same boat that was around all those years ago?
Look, I've only been on them since 2005, so they're pretty similar to what they have been since I've been on them. But since 1972, when they first came out, there has been improvements in materials and equipment and fittings and the like. But in the last 20 odd years, they have settled down. But there's always been a problem between European and Australian or American boats. There were subtle but significant differences between the two. This time, they've drawn a line and come up with a global boat. So they've got rid of all the differences, all the castings that have had sort of diverged over time have all been replaced. So now the boats we sailed at this Worlds are what they're calling a global boat. So now they've standardised them, and they're very, very much what we have been sailing in Australia and America and the Pacific since year 2000, I guess. But just the Europeans had some crazy setups that I don't know how they started, but they have been traditionally a little bit different, but not anymore. But no, they're all the same. There's nothing too technologically advanced. It's probably just the improvement in materials and blocks and fittings and ropes and the like.
And how many boats have you had? Can you keep a 16 for a while, or you chew through them a bit?
We keep them for a while. We've got one
we've got two.
Yeah, we've got one that's 10 or 11 years old that we do a lot of sailing on. We've got one that's 2 years old, a year and a half old.
Yeah.
So we have a boat that's just in the club, masked up, that we can just sail all the time. And we have another boat that's our good racing one. But the boat that's masked up, that's still pretty good. It got second in the States a couple of years ago, and it's fine. But they do just get old, but the new boats aren't that much better. I should say for Hobie Cat, everyone should be out buying new boats because it makes a big difference.
Well, that sort of whole element, where the boats are supplied at the Worlds, obviously there's a lot of boats suddenly come onto the market available there. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I almost like a day, because you spend so much time perfecting your boat. Our background, you're always working on your boats, and then you go to a World Champs and you're just randomly allocated. But I guess if it came down to my crucial decision factor, money, is it the entry fee's high because of they're issuing new boats, or the entry fee, and you don't have to ship anything over, or is it cheaper to do Hobie Worlds? Is what I'm asking.
Yeah, we think so. We've had this conversation with a few people, and the entry fee. I don't even know what the entry fee was.
It feels pretty high. It feels pretty high, but I think it's good value. It's nowhere near as high. Yeah, it's nowhere near as high as putting a boat in a container and shipping it around the world.
Yeah.
It's extremely good value to rock up to a regatta with your trapeze harness and your life jacket, and that's all you really need to take. And I think, in the current environment, it'd be difficult to have a Worlds with all the shipping costs and the container shortage and the delays. We had examples of boats not turning up to F18 Europeans and the like. So, look, as far as it goes, it's brilliant. And all those boats at the Worlds are pre-sold. So they're either pre-sold to sailors, so you're getting them at a significant discount on a new boat, and dealers pick them up and sell them as second-hand boats. So they're all, and in Europe, 60 boats won't make much of a dent.
Right.
Shit, there must be some 16s out there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, everywhere. You drive down your street, they're probably halfway every second house.
Exactly.
So I think the next Worlds are in Oz, though. So if anybody's listening to this show and wants to get one, I reckon chances coming this way. Am I right? Are the Worlds in Oz next?
Oh, have you got some intel?
No, we haven't heard that. You know something we don't know?
Maybe I'm thinking the windsurfers. Sorry, maybe
Windsurfer. The LT Worlds are in Perth.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
that's coming. But the Worlds probably won't be in Australia, I don't think. We'll wait with bated breath to see where they are.
Okay, well, on that point, then, one of the things I've noticed, and I've never really asked, they seem to put the Hobie Worlds in really cool locations. holiday destinations, party sort of destinations, good places to go to. Is that right? Is that part of the philosophy of the class?
Yeah, I think they try and hold it at a place where everyone can sort of stay together. Like Florida, for example, we're on Captiva Island, and everyone stayed at the same place. There was really only one place to stay. And in Spain, we're at La Balena Alegra in Costa Brava. The LTs were there recently too, and I think the Optimists are going to go there next year.
Yeah, the Oppie Worlds are there, yeah.
And it's one huge bungalow park, and it was great. Everything was there. There's supermarkets, restaurants, great big long beach, and all of the competitors could stay there, whether they wanted to camp or stay in a caravan or get a bungalow. There was something for everyone. So I think that's part of the strategy to...
Well, I think, but the answer is, Jordan, they try, but they don't always get it right.
All right, where's the best and the worst place you've been then?
I know that. Well.
Hang on, this one was the best.
This was very,
Costa Brava.
Costa Brava was the best. If you ever get a chance to go to that place for a regatta, it is ideal. It's so good. We had one in China that wasn't particularly good from a lot of fronts. That was a bit rough, but generally they're good. They try. So that I think over the time, the best ever was in Mexico, and that was before my time. So I missed that one, unfortunately. Did you? You didn't go to that?
Oh, I didn't. No.
No, you see, you both missed out on Mexico. Bryce's been to Mexico, had some fun experiences there, haven't you, bud?
Yeah, I'm still paying for him.
What's next for you guys? Like, it's still Hobies. Now you're going to write a book and sort of bank on your fame here a bit, or what?
No,
we got a club race at Nedlands.
Yeah, club race. Look, we got our nationals at Jervis Bay in
50th.
Sydney. Yeah. That's Christmas time. We'll head over to do that.
So just for our non-Australian listeners, I'll explain. So Jervis Bay Jervis Bay in the New South Wales, which is absolutely beautiful, and then Jervis Bay in Western Australia, which sounds
the same, spelled differently.
Exactly. But yeah, so there's one on each coast, just so people aren't confused. So the 50th Hobie 16 Nationals, all Hobies together, aren't they?
Yeah, they've got 100 boats.
104
or
now, maybe more
it's
now.
Going to be, they're really putting a lot of effort into running a good regatta, and
out of the Vincentia Sailing Club.
Yeah, really keen bunch of guys down there, guys and girls down there running it. So we're looking forward to that one. And then I don't know, maybe the Euros next year, where there's no plans to do anything other than Hobie sailing at the moment. I can't imagine that. We'll be jumping in F18s or doing windsurf. Mates are trying to convince me to do the LT Worlds, but I can't see me being able to get a leave pass to do that. So stick with Hobies, you know.
I was looking at the weight divisions at the Worlds, and I think the heavyweights was like 82 or 83 kilos, and that's a laugh, you know.
It's the weight of your head, Jordan.
That's right.
Don't stand up and show them your chicken legs, Cam.
No, I'll be all right.
So one of the things, Cam, just as a heads up, you know, obviously you'd know this, is that you can sneak off from Jervis Bay and get some good windsurfing just down the road a little bit. So.
Ooh, yeah, Jero, I'll be taking windsurfing gear this time because I'm only doing the first series, so I haven't booked in for the second series. So yeah, might be a few trips up there. That would be good actually. I like that.
Yeah. A fantastic little spot, amazing spot. I guess the one thing that we've sort of jumped over, Bryce, and I don't know if we planned it, is that we got to ask. We kind of like to know how people get into sailing. Like, we're interested in what the pathway was. So, Suze, what was your pathway? Were you first in, or like, did you just want to do it, or it was family led?
Yeah, apparently I just wanted to do it. I think I was probably watching America's Cup stuff and a bit excited about what is that sport when I was a kid, and asked my dad if I could sail. I was 7, and he took me down to Mounts Bay Sailing Club and put me in a little mudlark. I don't know if you've seen those.
The mudlark?
Little local WA boat.
Yeah.
They're still around. I hope they're a great little boat for kids. Pretty much like an old scow moth type shape. Get a bit bowed down when you go downwind, which is a bit scary when you're a kid and sailing in WA.
Yes.
But that just got me into it. I was hooked, absolutely loved it. I was wanting to coach other kids when I was 12 and help them to get into the sport too. And I guess just went from there.
I've got to say, Suze, for those who are not familiar with the geometry of where you sail on the Swan River there, when you're talking Mounts Bay and a boat that goes nose down a little bit, Mounts Bay's a bit down the river, and in WA it blows like crazy down towards Mounts Bay, and then the waves are very steep and short and very close together, so it's pretty easy to go down the mine, I would have thought.
Yeah, especially if a ferry goes past you too, or a big power boat or something like that.
Yeah,
and especially in a mudlark where you couldn't get the mast much closer to the front of the boat.
That's right. Yeah, it is very close to the front. So from there just into flying ants, and then I went across to Perth Dinghy and sailed JDs, and just loved watching the 14-foot skiffs sailing around too. That was pretty exciting. So, that was always my goal, was to go and sail fast, fun boats like that.
And you never got big enough for a 14? So
no, I'm kind of small. So,
perfect Hobie crew.
So the question then becomes, when did you give up life and become a cat whacker?
$1, $10 my way.
Yeah. So I was, what was I doing? I was working in a chandlery and sail loft place in Perth, and doing a bit of sail making with my friend Mark Lovelady, and then we sold Hobie cats, and I was sailing 420s at the time, and I think my friends and I were all sort of starting to get a bit old in the class and looking at what we were going to do next. And your circle of friends started to drop out of the class, and our state championships was down south in Busselton, and a friend and I sort of thought, maybe we won't drive down there and do the event. Our friend group's sort of gone, and when you're a teenager, it's part of the social side as well, doing your regatta and getting the money to drive down south and do it. And through work, I think it was probably Gav Colby or Steve Fields said to me, I'll go up and sail in the crew on a Hobie and sail in the Hobie State Championships up in Geraldton. So that's when, mate Darren Smith came and picked me up. Didn't know who he was. And we went up to Geraldton and did the state championships. And from there I just went, well, Hobies are a no-brainer. They're a great boat. Anyone can race them. It's great fun.
Yeah.
They're affordable. They're easy to sail. They're hard to sail really fast. Didn't look back.
Yeah, good. It's interesting in the pathway thing, the direction things take you, I guess. So, but and now you're world champion.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I love that. And I guess for you, mate, Cam, looking back, I'm guessing you're in that club where you didn't get much of a chance. It was always cat sailors there where you were in Victoria, like you were with Ashby and all that sort of crew down there, weren't you?
Yeah, look, I didn't know, because I grew up down in Macrae. I sailed at Macrae as a kid, and my old man was a keen cat sailor. He was taking us around to Paper Tiger Nationals in the 70s and all the Paper Tiger regattas, and they were huge back in the day. There were hundreds of them. And I started off on Northbridge Juniors, which was the class that we all had, and Dad took us into the garage over winter, and he built us a boat, built one for me and one for my brother, and we had a great time putting that together, and came out with Tweedledee and Tweedledum. I was Tweedledum, I've got to say. and then we sailed them for a few years, and I tried flying ants, and then I wasn't very successful on flying ants and got smashed in one of those southerly busters that came through, and lost my crew and lost my boat and lost a lot of confidence. And Dad said, all right, we'll get you back on a boat. He bought a Mosquito, which is a 16-foot cat, and said, come crew for me for a season. So that was it. I was a cat sailor. Then I crewed for Dad for a season and loved that, and got my own paper tiger. And I think we had a group of about 10 kids, all my age, who all got paper tigers at the same time and went on and did nationals. And there were 140 boats or something at the first nationals that we're dealing with. These 13 or 14-year-old kids getting smashed by adults and getting thrashed and beaten. But it was the best thing that could ever have happened to us. And I sort of lament the way youth sailing is going these days, where they put all these kids into youth classes where they should be sailing against us and learning from us, because you're not going to learn as much from kids. But anyway, that's my soapbox. I'll get off that.
I like it.
And then sailed paper tigers and then A classes, and and tornadoes, and there was a wealth of talent back in the day. You know, when I was sailing tornadoes, it was, you had Mitch and Bundy, and Chris Nicholson was sailing, and Scott Anderson and the Goodalls, and there were just so many good sailors trying for that position. It was brutal, but it was we were so lucky to have that, and to have that depth of talent. And similarly with A classes, there were like Ashby and all those guys were racing A classes the whole time. You know, you really had to be on your game to be competitive. So yeah, that's why I was always a cat sailor, because I saw the light quite young. And then when I moved to Perth, the Hobie 16, I hated it in Melbourne. You know, I used to bag the crap out of them. You know, Hobie cowboys and wankers. I thought guys like LaRufa and Aaron Worrell, I knew they were good sailors, but they were just, in my mind, they were cowboys at the time. But I've certainly changed that opinion now. I'm one of them. And and as Sue said, it's a no-brainer. You come over here and they're cheap. Yeah, you can buy a boat that could win estates for $4 or $5 grand. You know, they're just they're available, and there's depth there. And you know, if parents were looking at a boat that could teach their kids how to sail cats, they're much better to spend that money on a Hobie. And if they can beat me and Suze or Darren, or if they get Gav to the top mark, then they might want to think about getting a NACRA 17 or something like that. Like Jason Waterhouse, he was our Hobie 16 competitor for a long time. You know, we had some really tough tussles with Jason and Lisa back in the Mooloolaba sort of days in the early
2011.
12, you know, they were,
and then Port Melbourne.
Yeah, it was great racing, and you know they've made that transition. And a lot of the other earlier NACRA 17 guys were Hobie sailors, because they've got to learn. You got to learn how to sail. You got to learn, and learning from adults is it's a unique opportunity. And I think unfortunately their pathways these days aren't facilitating that. It's a worry, and I'm sort of concerned about the future of cat sailing in Australia, to be honest.
It's a really interesting point you've raised there, mate. I think we need to think about. I've got to say the Paper Tiger is a pretty cool boat. I've always liked the look of the Paper Tiger. You know, like they're, if you haven't seen one, it's worth a look at one, because they look pretty funky. But Nedlands Yacht Club, I remember when I was a little fella, they had the Paper Tigers and the Tornadoes. And they had this thing called the Yvonne, I think it was called.
Yvonne, yeah.
The world's biggest catamaran that you're not going across an ocean in, you know, like what?
Yeah, there's still Yvonnes at Rockingham and at Frankston, I think. They're the only two clubs in the country that have Yvonnes. I'm not too sure if they're still at Frankston, but
yeah, there's certainly a fleet down at the Cruising Yacht Club in Rockingham over here. We can get you a ride if you want one.
Oh, no, I'm good. I reckon you would never want to cross tax with one of those things, though, because I reckon it'd just destroy you.
Yeah, your money would be in the Yvonne for sure.
But
there's something clear with the 16s, though. If people have competed in them in the past, they generally stick around the class for a long, long time.
They come back.
They stay in there. It is a real community. It really is. You know, a lot of people are wedded to it. It's just fun.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got to challenge this, right? So here's the question, right? So obviously I hear you guys talk about the Hobie 16s. I talk to a bunch of people, obviously mates with Jason Lease, you know, the Waterhouse family, fantastic people, right? Watched a bit of the video stuff of your little mates running around at the Worlds there with their little video session. everyone loves everyone, according to all the media coming out. Now at Barker 80, we don't believe that for a sec. So, has anyone ever punched on? Like, you're all living in the same spot. Have we ever seen a punch on or anything like that? Is it broken down? Has the love disappeared occasionally or not? No, never once.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Kumbaya, my lord.
All smiles and kisses.
We're all pretty fierce on the water, but when we hit the beach, that's it. We switch off from the sailing part, and we all have a good time together.
I'm sure there are examples, but none that we've sort of been involved in or can remember.
Yeah.
No, look, I think it's good though. You can, if something happens on the water, you can go and have a conversation with the other party about it on the beach, and most of the time resolve things pretty well.
Okay. Well, we'll take you at your word, but okay. Then we have to throw the other question. And Susie, you've witnessed me do some stupid things, in training camps and stuff like that to try and cause a little bit of humour or bring the fun. What about the banter on the water? Do you use the psych out game at all, or are you really quiet? How does that go?
Oh yeah, we've heard you talking about this.
Yes.
I have to be quiet, Jordan. I've been told to pull my head in.
Pull your head in, Cam.
I get in trouble if I speak out there. So I'm totally focused on not saying anything because I get in trouble.
Look, I think we just sail. We're different in a championship, like a major championship, like a Worlds. As a pair on the boat, we're quite different than we are in club racing.
Yeah.
People will probably hear us getting a bit fiery between each other, racing around on the Swan River. But when we get to a Nationals or a Worlds, we're just sailing. We're just kind of focused on that. I don't think we don't really do too much with the other competitors, do we?
On the water. I really, no.
Cam used to shave his head and look a bit scary, but I think he's grown out of that.
Well, we promote heavily maximum banter, both on and off the water.
The one thing that I do, Jordan, just to try and put the competitors off, is I do not shower during regattas. So that's maybe on the beach I might be putting a few people off, but that's one thing I don't like to shower during regattas. So that's probably the one.
Don't write that in your notebooks, kids.
That's good. It's good. You don't need to waste that time.
How do we feel about that one, Suze?
Look, he doesn't smell.
The one time I did shower, this is serious, and this is not a superstition though. The one time I did shower in Florida, the water wasn't that clean, and there were dead fish, and there was this red tide, and it was, the waves would break, and you'd be coughing because of this algae stuff that was blowing around, and I did shower, and the next day I went out and crushed her hand. So I think, that's a sign not to shower. I'm not doing that again.
Definitely not a superstition then.
No. No, I've never showered. I don't shower. I swim. I'll go for a swim and use saltwater shower. I prefer
I can dunk him if I need to.
But it didn't work in Florida because the water was just
Wow, that's unusual. No, look, I honestly say that you've probably put every sailor off, mate. You're done. You've
yeah, it's a bit weird.
That's the plan.
I can't see you making it onto a big boat team with that approach.
No, you're right there, and you probably couldn't see me on a big boat team when you see me on a boat either. So
you did a bit of Etchells a couple of years ago. That was pretty hard, wasn't it?
No. If they've got one big long hull, it's probably not for me.
Okay. Well, the question, we're sort of coming to the end of the time. So the question I want to ask for you both, from my end, what boat would you like to try? What boats are you looking out there, that you go, oh, gee, I wish I could have a blast on one of those?
Oh, an Outreamer 45.
Yeah, definitely one of those. No. Yeah, or maybe a bigger one.
Yeah.
The new 52, the 55, they look lovely.
Yeah, we're the old school one, Jordan, the one that looked more like the Hobie cat. The banana looking ones, they're the ones that we like.
Okay.
Yeah, probably in the Med, we hear it's a good place to try them.
Maybe the Pacific.
Yeah, that's where we can't quite agree on that yet. So
Okay.
we'll probably have to wait longer.
No, look, I like the F18, but it's just a commitment that I just don't have time to try, and Sue's a little bit too small. So we're pretty happy on the 16 for the time being.
We tried it, didn't work out so well.
No.
Do you have, how about foiling? Do you want to get out there and give that a crack?
Oh, not in a yacht racing sense. Like probably maybe on a sailboard or a wing ding, just for some leisure time. But I have no desire to get in an arms race and get into foiling or anything like that. We're sort of happy on a production one design boat where we don't have to worry about developing anything. We don't have to worry about different foils or different centerboards or sails for conditions. So it's just not something I could be bothered with, to be honest.
Okay. So just to that point then, because you've made some good points, like you're in a happy place, it's something you're enjoying, you can keep doing it for a long time. There's going to be people listening that are going, maybe I should go this Hobie 16. So what's the weight setup? What's the range? What sort of combinations work?
Well, we're all different shapes and sizes in the class. So, sort of say to anyone, you can sail the boat. It doesn't matter what you look like, how big or small you are. But there's a bit of an ideal combination. So the minimum weight for sailing in the open fleet is 129.3.
Yep.
So as a combo, it needs to be...
Oh, as a combo.
Yeah, as a combo.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, I'm nearly there.
So that's like I'm 80 kilos and Suze is about 50, so we're 130. So we're quite close to that, and that's fortunate that Suze is so little. But there were teams up around, like Mitch was sailing in the Worlds, and he was struggling a little bit in some of the lighter gear, but he was 150 odd kilos, and he's still in the top 20 of the Worlds. Good sailor, but so yeah, some between 130 and 150 is probably a reasonable weight range.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And generally, you want the weight on the back of the boat.
Yep.
So a bit more power on the main sheet on the back of the boat.
But it does. I mean, it doesn't really matter. 275 kilo guys or girls can easily sail it and go well. Like there's plenty of teams that are that weight structure.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Well, so I might have to sail it single-handed. I think is.
Well, Jordan, they're set up. They're set up to be parent, kid, partner type boats. You look on the podium, and there's quite a number of almost half of them are women. I think. There was two. There was one male team, and the rest of them were male female sort of teams. And there's a lot of father son or father daughter or even mother daughter type teams floating around the place. So, as two grown men, 80 kilo men, they're probably not the boat to get. Look at an F18 or something like that. But for a family sort of boat that's flexible enough to sail with kids and partners, they're perfect. And that's probably why they've been so successful over such a long period of time.
No, that's cool. It's good.
Yeah, it's good.
It is good and that probably what leads to some of the the happiness in the fleet. There's that, because when you get mixed crews, we found you get a lot more. It's a lot more fun. I think is the best way to describe it. So where to next? What is the next Worlds then? I think I got it wrong.
Don't know. We don't know.
Well, it hasn't been announced yet. Oh. So, the big one is the 50th Nationals at the end of the year. Maybe. And then we've got our eye on the European Championships next year. They'll be in July in Italy.
Cesenatico in Italy. So maybe.
If we can get across
another good location.
And... just waiting for the announcement of the next World Championships.
Do you get, as the World Champions, do you get to decide?
We get no. Not much comes with being a World Champion, Jordan. I've got to say, we get a name on a trophy, and that's probably
T-shirt and a hat. Yeah,
not even a T-shirt and a hat. I got the hat, but no, it's just the name on the trophy and being in a pretty select group, which is the outcome, and we don't get say in definitely where the next Worlds are.
Oh well.
We should though. I like the idea.
That's a good idea.
Send The Hobie
I
Cup and see
think
what they
we
reckon.
should be able to do that, and we should get a watch or something.
Yeah.
Oh, Rolex.
Like it's like a ring,
Like
like
a
a
Rolex.
Super Bowl ring or something like that.
Yeah. Love it. Awesome. All right. Well, mate, for both of you, we were, you know how happy I was. I was cheering for you the whole way, and I'm super ecstatic that you got the win, and massive congratulations. Couldn't happen to a nicer pair, so I'm very happy for that. And hopefully you get a few more.
Yeah, I hope so. Thanks very much, Jordan. We know you've been watching us, and it's been good to receive that feedback. So thanks a lot, and we'll be trying, that's for sure.
And despite Jordan's constant cat whacking bashing, he's a big fan. We all are. So congratulations
Thank you.
again, and really top effort.
We know Jordan loved cats because he's actually been down polishing our boat at Mooloolaba a few years ago. Don't forget that, mate. You loved it so much you came and polished it.
I did. Oh, shut up. Don't tell people. I love it. All right. Cool, guys. We'll leave you in peace.
Thanks, guys.
Say
Thank
good day.
you.
And remember,
Have a good day.
Put my photo above the bar at Nedlands and send it through to Boris.
Have a Hobie day.
Yeah.
A lot of fun, that one. Obviously, good friends with that pairing, and super happy for them to win. And maybe I thought maybe a Hobie 16 in the future, but no, too big.
Successful campaigns. Yes. Oh, yeah, way too big.
Way too
Unless it's 50, blowing 50.
They wanted to. They said they forgot to plug Vycobi, and obviously Pat Langley, our mate at Vycobi, he's getting a free plug there, Go, because they put all the uniforms together. I think Suze did a lot of work. She's quite tied in with Pat, a bit like us. So thought doing that, but it sounds like a pretty good class. The 16s, they're
good on and off, as they explain. And like you said, they go to all these flash joints.
Yeah.
I could almost see like a Club Med hosting the Worlds or something.
Yeah.
Turks and Caicos, maybe.
Oh.
And that is probably the last time I sailed a Hobie 16 as well.
Who was telling me? I was talking to Slingsby's lovely partner, and she was telling me how they were at one of those resorts, and they decided to go and take the Hobie or whatever it was out for a sail. And it was the laser. It was the laser.
Oh yeah.
And she said the guy on the beach because Tom's so quiet, he doesn't talk himself up at all, right? And the guy,
he didn't have his gold medals on.
No, he didn't have his gold medals around the neck, and the guy on the beach was trying to give him instructions on how to sail a laser.
Push it away from you. Pull it towards you.
She said, she's so close to saying something, but Tom would never, and he's just humbly listening, I think that's just hilarious. You know me, I'd probably just go, dude.
Mate, have you seen what's hanging around my neck?
Yeah. Let me tell you how awesome I am.
Yeah.
So, a lot of fun, but cool. What else? Right. Other events coming up. What's going on? Is there much going on?
There's a couple on the brew.
There's a couple on the brew. What have we got?
Well, and we're kind of coming into the, like I said at the top of the show, the opening day season is upon us. So all the clubs are all firing up. Everyone's getting out there, brushing off the cobwebs, and especially in Oz.
Yeah. Well, one of them is the 16s club. All the 16 sailors will be big up on Lake Macquarie there at Belmont, because this year is their 100th year of sailing out of there. So this weekend there's actually a two-boat regatta on. So the 16's having a two-day regatta on this weekend. So that would be one.
Good fleet too.
Good
the
fleet.
16s.
Yeah. And they've had a real resurgence of late. So,
the lake hasn't overflowed up there.
Oh,
with all the rain that's bloody happening.
I didn't even think of that, boss. Yes, I wonder. A lot of rain going on. Oh, gee, I hope everyone's okay. But that'd be a disaster, wouldn't it? Anyway, so that's on. So if you want to have a bit of a follow up on that, or an old 16 sailor or anything along those lines, then probably worth having a bit of a look see. The other thing that's going on is starting this week is the IQ Foil World Champs in Brest in France. So this is the Olympic class, basically. It's the class that the new Olympic sort of boat or the windsurfers are out of. So have you tried one, boys?
Negative. I saw a couple. I've seen them getting around.
Yeah.
They kind of. I saw one yesterday, actually, from Brighton, and they look pretty cool.
They're cool.
But
we know
they look
BP's
as though I do myself a lot of injuries.
Yeah. BP's a massive fan, as we know. I think we're going to do a bit of a chat to one of the sailors. We've got it sort of half lined up. So, because we haven't done much on the IQ foiling stuff. And remember when we had the foiling tack happen, BP was all fired up and said, that's a game changer, gold medal right there. And you and I both said, well, we think everyone will be doing it by the time the Olympics comes around. I have started to see a few videos of that going on where people are more and more doing foiling tacks. So, but that's happening 14th to the 22nd of October. So if you're interested in that, there'll be good coverage. It's going to be interesting to watch how all the Olympic athletes that have been training non-stop 365 days a year are going to go. I think it'll be quite interesting to see what the trends are.
Yeah, she'll be pretty tight at the top. But yeah, like you say, it'd be good to see what the trends are.
So we're interested viewers. Both agree that we'd be last in the fleet.
Agreed.
Listener of the week, the Jack Lloyd Listener of the Week. Got any nominations on your end?
Well, I saw a couple come across the desk this week. Namely, we had one from Will Anthony, who's been, loves the show. He's going to see us all in Lincoln. He's been up in, where was he? Port Douglas.
Yeah. Just talking about that yacht club up there, the Port Douglas Yacht Club. And I think he was trying to get us to talk it up, which is cool. No problems at all with that. So they've got a race week up there in May coming up, obviously in half a year's time. And he's in town. So what he's saying is you've got to go from South Australia for the keelboat season ending in April up to back up to Port Douglas. So that's a pretty long sail.
Yeah. Yep. You're right.
But
our other one we had come through is from Phil Shearer, who is, as he alludes to himself, is a Commodore. He's also a cat whacker and of Tauranga Yacht and Powerboat Club, which is a great part of the world over in the land of the long white cloud. I won't read his first paragraph that he sent through.
What about the second one?
The second one, he was talking about when we spoke about the foiling for the parasailers.
Yeah.
And he thought maybe the wetter trimaran could come into play.
Yeah. There's a bit of Kiwi bias in that, obviously. But yeah, I don't know. I could do, I suppose. I wonder I guess they can sit centered in the wetter and do that. So that could work.
High stability. So that could work. Absolutely.
Yeah. They do capsize though. They have capsized. So it's a possibility. They've got self-tacking jibs on the wetters now. They used to be a non-tacking jib, so they've started to go self-tackers, and okay, that could be interesting. But it's simple to sail. Probably all I can handle these days.
You'll be right on a wetter, actually.
Oh, why?
You'd love it.
I'd be happy to have a go, mate. Nice windy day. I'd love to have a go. Why not? All sailing's good sailing, if you ask me, mate.
Yeah, absolutely, my friend.
Okay, so I'm leaning to Phil for the win there with his cat whacker comments, being from New Zealand.
Phil's going to have that.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you what, Phil, when I head over to NZ, I'll bring some merch packs with me, maybe do the rounds, drop them off.
Those mythical merch packs, hey? You know what is nearly done and dusted as we go to air is, you know what? You know what we should do, boss?
Do tell.
Ole, 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 ole. Feeling hot, hot, hot.
It's hot time with Bice.
Feeling hot, hot, hot.
Yeah, that's me, isn't it?
Yeah, that's you, bud.
Yeah. So we do have a little one, something that we promised we would be doing at some point in time,
Mm-hmm.
which we just, what are we going to call that? A peter out.
Peter out, yeah.
The Wally Worlds are on.
Yes.
Wally Worlds coming up, which is in the windsurfer LTs. Yeah, we resolved this. Were we allowed to call them Wallies?
Did we resolve it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's today's the last day, I think. Let's call them Wallies. Why not? I can't see a reason why not. So they've got all the different weight divisions. They've got, as I said, I saw the heavyweights were about 83 kilos or something. So well, there's no way we're doing the Wally Worlds. It's just, you can do them, but you'll be a heavyweight boss. Did you make the heavyweights?
Would I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Depend on
definitely
if you're doing your bike riding or not.
That's right.
Yeah. So we're right near the end. It looks pretty good. The weight class, the lighter weight class, the Italian Marco Casagrande, he's looking the goods at the moment. Got a good lead there. See, there's a lot of Wallies going into the next weight class. Stefan Vandenberg, the Dutch. Geez, the Dutch. Talk about
the Dutch.
The
they
Italians.
love it. They love a good windsurfer too, the Dutch.
Yeah, but the Italians and the Dutch are the resurgent nations at the moment. When you run through all the results, they are the resurgent nation, I reckon. I'm just trying to flip through. There's a lot of entries to the C category, which they don't. I can't remember. Here we go. Here's the heavyweights, I reckon. Looks like Alessandro Alberti, Italian, against another Italian, So Italy's going to be winning that class. Let's go down and see if we can find. What do we hear? Riccardo, 89 kilos. Right, we're starting to get to decent size human. Riccardo Giordano, an Italian, in front of a Dutch sailor, Harold Elfring. So domination there. What's going to happen in the women's fleet? Let's have a bit of a look. Gee, there's a few. Italian sailors. Laura,
How many boards are we seeing at the World, do you reckon?
Oh, actually,
up there, eh?
It's a lot. It's a lot. Our friend Sarah Kenny at fifth in the women's. So the lovely Sarah Kenny, who does so much for the sport of sailing. So congratulations, Sarah. Looking pretty good. But Laura Linares is looking good there. She has. She's got quite a margin there, so no threats to her. So, but the last day's on. Jump on if you want to have a look at that one as well. Anything else going on, my friend?
Well, the Lavoie de Saint-Tropez has just been completed in what was seen to be a very light week. So we saw the Flying Nika, for example, flying around Sardinia during the Maxi Worlds.
Yeah.
But they were quite stuck this week, let's say.
Yeah, right.
In Saint-Tropez. So the only winner there was all the rosé that got drunk, I reckon.
Yeah. Did you go for the racing to Saint-Tropez, or is it just to be seen?
Just to be seen.
Just to be seen.
In the white linen.
Yes.
Drinking the rosé, for sure.
It always seems strange to me that white is such a strong colour. Like even the Navy, everything's white. I wonder why sailing has to go the whites, because it gets wet and see-through. Yeah,
it's a bit of a tradition there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's weird.
So, having donned the whites yesterday myself,
I'm
yet to find the exact historically why we actually wear the whites, but that's a good little bit of research for me today.
M32 Worlds are on right as we speak. There's only another couple of days to go. The famous Chinese sailor PJ Posma is leading that event. You've met PJ in China, of course, Bicey?
Yes, of course.
Another one of the Dutch sailors. Then Dan Cherish on Extreme 2 in second, and Blixen, an actual Dutch team with Peter Tessler. Geez, the Dutch are on fire at the moment.
Yeah, they love it.
Our two passions, mate, sailing and cycling, and it's just Dutch. What's going on?
Everywhere.
I know. They're big units too, and so we can't complain. Can't complain about size being best favoured. Oh, dear.
That's right. And then, of course, the other one we had was the Etchell Worlds, which was quite a while back, a week or so back, which had a winner with nothing terribly super to report. No mold 11s, I don't believe. Turned up based on the new world sailing recommendations of things to do. But in saying that, keeping my ear to the ground, there are probably 6 or 7 boats that have undertaken the mods in SA,
Is that right?
in Australia for that matter.
Right. Wow. Jeez,
So
that's
we'll be
incredible.
seeing them at during the nationals at the CYC of SA in January.
The accordion Etchells.
The
Wow.
fold up Etchell
Hold up, Etchells. And
fits in the container pretty well.
Okay. So what's next for us, my friend? Are you got any regattas coming up? Or is
No
it just wearing
regattas
the whites?
apart from those particular Etchells,
Yeah.
which will be taking place in January. But pre that is, of course, the launch, the State Sailing League, which will be taking place in Port Adelaide in the inner port under the banner of the Dockside Festival, which is about to be launched. And I'll be sure to be peppering our socials with all that information. And then, of course, the second greatest race, the Sydney to Hobart.
Yes. Right. Okay. Cool.
So a third time lucky. We'll see.
See if you can go down. I don't know, mate. Like I've got to say that there was a huge response to that little race coverage we did every few hours. I think during the Hobart, a lot of people seem to enjoy that. So probably best you don't go south.
Yeah, just so we can do some commentary.
Oh, dear. Cool, mate. All right. Well, that was a good one. Look forward to everyone enjoying their sailing, to the Australian sailors out there. Your season's back on and having a good time. Everything good is happening, I think. Yeah.
Things are warming up.
Yeah.
Get
Happy
out
time.
there, have a crack.
Cool. All right.
Nice, mate.
Enjoy your week, buddy.
You too.
See you, everyone.